Okay.
Woohoo!
Hello, everybody. I'm here with Exit. Are you Exit?
Yay! Andrew, it's nice to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing shorter videos recently. John's here. Hi, John.
John?
Hey all.
So, how was your evening?
Oh, it's my evening's been great actually. It's been really entertaining. Just really funny. I've been having a great time. I'm getting ready to head out actually. I need to run over to my house, but I need to do laundry first, and it's taking a lot longer than I expected. So I just have some time to kill right now until that's done, and I gotta leave.
Do you want to talk about the aid package real quick?
Sure. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't actually read I need to find the line items real quick. I saw the announcement earlier.
Yeah. It was mostly just ammo, I think.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, 1 second. It was. Damn it! Who tweeted out? Someone has to have tweeted out the full list.
Probably. Anyways, there was for the people who don't know, there was an aid package today.
Found it.
Okay.
So it's AIM 9M Sidewinders, AIM 7 Sparrows, or Sea Sparrows, additional Gimlers 105 and 105, or 155 and 105 rounds, Harm, Tow, Javelins, AT4s, 4 million rounds of small arms ammunition, vehicles to tow and haul equipment, demolition munitions, equipment to protect critical infrastructure, no elaboration, and spare parts and other equipment. I'm gonna be honest. I had a stroke. That's the wrong list. That's last week's. Forgive me. I'm having a moment right now.
I think it was like tow missiles, like Gimlers, and that's all I know.
Let me just open up the DoD website. I thought DoD press releases. I thought somebody tweeted this out.
I just sent it.
Here we go. Here we go. Found it. So yeah,
send it to me.
AIM 9M Sidewinders, quote, air defense system components, no elaboration, HIMARS ammo, so Gimlers, 155 and 105 rounds, Harm, Tow, Javelin AT4, 4+ million rounds of small arms ammunition, demolition munitions for obstacle clearing, equipment to protect critical national infrastructure, spare parts, generators, maintenance, and other artillery equipment.
Well, yeah, it's a little package. It's not a big package. It's the $200 million package, which I think it's half the size of Germany's smallest package. America.
Yeah, you'd have to ask Germany to Ukraine. But yeah, I mean, they've dropped off in size right now. We're getting down to before this, I think we were at $1.1 billion remaining in replenishment funding. The Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisitions and Sustainment, Dr. William LaPlante, blessed be his name, he said that they were going to send in the request to Congress, I think either this week or next week, to spend that remaining $1.1 billion in replenishment funds. And then once we've hit that dollar value, the DoD is probably going to, like I said previously on other platforms, recommend against additional PDA packages, even though we'll probably have about $3.5 billion left in authority, just because they aren't going to want to draw down anything from stockpile that they don't have the money on hand to begin the contracting process to replace, because the risk is if they do that and then the supplemental takes a year to get passed, or just doesn't get passed at all, that means there'll be a $3 billion hole in our defense budget. We gave $3.5 billion worth of kit, and suddenly we have no money to replace it. So that's the DoD's concern going forward. And then obviously, even if they do take that risk, then we still have $3.5 billion. 4.5 right now, I think. Until the supplemental gets passed. So it's a dicey situation.
It is weird that we've pledged more money to Ukraine than we can actually send.
Yeah, so what I think, I'm not sure what the source of that discrepancy is. So the way that the valuation works for PDA is they use the net book value. And I was just talking about this earlier today as it happens. So the net book value is the historical cost of the acquisition of the defense article minus accumulated depreciation. The replacement cost for the purposes of the replenishment fund is probably going to be very different because the first question is are you going to replace it with the same thing? If not, then what you're probably looking at is the actual cost. Let's say, we send an Abrams. It's going to have a net book value of something or another. Then, if the Army wants to buy another Abrams, the cost to replace it is probably going to be greater because that Abrams is probably lower historical acquisition cost, plus there's some depreciation there. There's probably going to be a differential. And then potentially you also have the second case where the DoD wants to replace it with something completely different, like the M777s. Part of the reason why we're scaling HIMARS production is because the Army wants to replace like 100 of the M777s they sent with HIMARS. So, that replacement cost and what they're going to need in terms of replenishment funding wildly differs from the actual net book value, which is used for the purposes of the Presidential Drawdown Authority.
I have some breaking news. There's reports of large explosions in Kyiv. What's that about? I don't know what that means. I'm assuming it means some sort of air defense, maybe. But I have no idea. And thank you, Mark, for the donation. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, the air raid alert just started 7 minutes ago, and it's also in Chernihiv. I wonder if this is ballistic missiles.
Yes, it says ballistic missiles. It says the guys are working, ballistics. Everything is about the same as the day before yesterday, etc. So yeah, there's they say there's a ballistic attack on Kyiv, or at least somewhere near Kyiv. I honestly, obviously, I don't know where the attack is. It's just the reports are reporting Kyiv. Anyways, that is some breaking news that I just saw in the corner of my eye. Anyways, yep. This aid package. I mean, we kind of have to hope that Congress approves more funding, because we definitely have the aid to give. It's just our Congress is bickering over. I don't even know. I don't even really understand what they're bickering about anymore. But they're bickering. Yeah, the last ballistic attack was what? Sunday, I think. Was it Sunday? I don't think there was one yesterday.
Monday.
Was it Monday?
Yeah, there are 8 ballistic missiles.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know how to move on to another topic. So Exit, how are you doing?
I am doing great. Just ships, because we always talk about ships for a few minutes. Ships are really, really, really busy. I have never, in all the time that I have tracked ships in and out of Odessa, I have never seen the ports this busy and this full and consistent. And it's really exciting. We're working on putting together some further analysis on some things that we have been noticing over the last couple of weeks that I think are going to be really exciting. Hopefully that'll come out early next week sometime. But of of all the things going on in Ukraine, ships are probably the one of the most positive goings on right now. It's really like economy wise, it's really beneficial, and they have done a really great job of actually getting things moving.
That's good. What? Okay, so what about these new boats? What?
So
I don't really know anything about these. First, I have several questions about the boats. First question is, when are they arriving? And second, what are they gonna do?
So a few things. What
Okay.
Andrew's referring to is the UK MOD came out with a statement saying that they were, as part of this new maritime coalition with Norway, they were going to supply 2 mine clearing Sandown class ships, as well as some like patrol boats and some other amphibious vehicles. Here's the thing. I am not 100% confirming this yet. We're still trying to get a response from the UK MOD, but it looks like those 2 mine hunter ships that they are talking about in that release are actually the 2 mine hunter ships that they've been talking about all along, that they already had given to Ukraine. And that there isn't 2 additional mine hunter ships. I'm not confirming that because we haven't had official confirmation from anybody. Everybody seems to be not wanting to confirm that, but there is absolutely a lot of confusion, and we can't find anybody that actually says for sure it's 2 additional ships.
Yeah,
And there seems to be
I
a
was
number of people.
I was completely under the impression that these were those old ships. Like, because they said that they were going to give them, and then they said, but we have to train the crew first, right?
Yeah.
And then they've been training the crew for, I don't even know how long, but for not like for a while.
18 months. Yeah.
So I assumed that this new message was basically, okay, we're done training or something. I don't know.
So they're not done training.
Or okay.
Yeah. So they are still training Ukrainian crews on these ships. It takes a long time to train crews to run entirely new ships. And my understanding is that because these ships are old, there's maybe some maintenance that needs to be done on them as well. There's all sorts of it's not a bad thing. It's just that they aren't headed to Ukraine anytime soon, number one. Number two, my understanding is that there's not really a desire from Ukraine to even move them into the Black Sea at the moment, because obviously they would be a target immediately. They don't have defenses. If you look up that class of ship, the Sandown class, they don't really have any defenses. If you have talked to anybody about a mine clearing mission, you would know that you're generally working very slowly across a big portion of water, which means you're like the perfect target to be hit by anything. So it's unlikely that we will see these ships in the Black Sea before the end of the war.
Well, that's disappointing. I was hoping they're on like a train. They're like, we're gonna get those boats there one way or another.
And so there's lots of ways that they could technically bring them in. They literally could load them on another ship and sail them through the Bosphorus, and that would be completely legal, and there's nothing wrong with that, and nobody could stop them from doing that. It's almost certainly not going to happen, because the second they get into the Black Sea, they would be a target, and I'm sure that Russia would take that opportunity. In fact, the Russian embassy specifically said they would take that opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Totally. I mean, it's a war. That's kind of the point.
Yeah. Unless unless Ukraine could make it too painful in retribution.
By
Somehow.
mounting additional Patriot systems on these sand.
I don't know. I mean, like if you sink our mine boat, we'll sink all of your civilian boats or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the Ukrainian Navy is very capable. I'm not sure they are that capable, unfortunately, at the moment. Nor
See,
do I think they would
they
actually do that.
they got you right where they want you.
They honestly, they are sneaky little buggers, and I think they are far more capable than most people give them credit for. I am probably not in that category. I have a lot of faith in them and am very excited about the things they are capable of. But yeah, unfortunately, those two ships aren't going to be there anytime soon, which the very unfortunate part of that is that Russia keeps mining the Black Sea in places where the cargo ships need to travel. And at the moment, Ukraine really doesn't have a lot of tools to deal with that threat in any way.
All right. So, yeah. Well, is there any more boat news you'd like to talk about?
There's really not. It's been relatively quiet in the Black Sea for the last 2 weeks or so. It's been the weather hasn't been optimal, so USV attacks, for instance, have not overly been possible. There's been like one day in the last 2 weeks where it would have even been possible by weather. And there hasn't really been any other comings and goings other than regular cargo traffic. And I mean, we absolutely should be celebrating the regular cargo traffic because that wasn't a thing for 18 months out of this war. And it's great that this is happening on a daily basis now.
Yep. Anyway, first I want to thank Teet for the donation. I'm glad you appreciate the videos. And second, I'm gonna pivot into the frontline news now, if you don't mind, because there's actually a bunch. Most of it's bad news, so I just want to throw that out there. So I'll start near Kupiansk. Over the past few days, Ukraine has, or I mean, rather, Russia has been attacking towards Klishchiivka. I mean, obviously, they've been doing this for weeks, actually, but there was some news that Ukraine had retaken positions in this forest, which I personally cannot mapping forests because it's like impossible. But there were these claims that Ukraine had taken positions in the forest. I don't actually know if they're true, but either way, Russia has been attacking in this forest. They lost a TADBV there. Well, in this video anyway. I don't know when the video was, but it was recent. Klishchiivka has been getting absolutely shelled by everything. Just enormous amounts of shelling. Helicopters, grads, artillery tubes, mortars, everything. Tanks. Every single form of artillery, including air power and ground power. So it's Klishchiivka has been really getting hit very, very hard. It's been one of the priorities for Russia, not necessarily a high priority, but up there. Like maybe like a top 10, you know? Not really a top 3, but like a top 10. So anyway, that's been the goings on around Klishchiivka. I don't really know of differences recently. There's been a lot of rumors of Russia entering the town over the past few weeks, but there's never been any actual evidence of that ever happening. Now, moving on to the east a little bit, there have been some back and forth near Pershio Trefneva. where Russia had advanced up to this tree line here, where they captured a bit of this tree line, and then they lost it, and now they're trying to take it back again. They've been attacking this position for quite a long time. It's actually very difficult to attack. It's very exposed. So you have to imagine this entire field is basically flat. These terrain features here are low ground, so Russia has to climb out of this low ground, cross a giant flat field into a tree line, and they get hit by basically everything whenever they try. They've taken really bad casualties. There have been some videos here where entire Russian platoons have been wiped out, like 100% casualties. So, and one of the major weapons that Ukraine uses here is the automatic grenade launchers. There have been a few videos where 20 Russians are walking, and about a half second later, like 18 of them are dead. Like that's the sort of thing that you see from videos in this area. It's very actually pretty nasty. So taking this tree line is kind of it's a safety because it has cover, and there's a trench in the tree line too. So Russia really wants to cross this giant empty field to get into the trench and the hide there because it's safer than being in a giant field. That's kind of their motivation at this point. No matter which direction they go, they have to cross a giant wide open field. So if you're wondering why do they keep attacking here, it's because everywhere else is literally the same problem. So this is just the one they're going for. So anyways, that's been going kind of back and forth. Near Ivanivka, Russia has advanced towards the town. This tree line has been going back and forth. There was a point where Russia captured it, and then Ukraine captured it, and then Russia captured it, and then Ukraine captured it, and then Russia captured it, and then Ukraine captured it, and now Russia's taken it back. So that is pretty much the tale of this tree line. It has gone back and forth that many times. This is the Ivanivka Yahidna area, or Yahidna area. I don't really have anything else to say about that. It's just Russia's taken it. Now, this whole area down to Kremenna, I have no real news. But near Kremenna, or near Dubrova, really, Ukraine has apparently gone on a little offensive. Or I don't even know if offensive is the right word, but they've gone on a little attack. They've entered this territory that was once known to be controlled by Russia, and they are now attacking through it. We have this video of Ukrainian forces attacking through the forest. You can go and watch the whole video. It's if I remember right, it's like 10 minutes long, something like that. It's pretty interesting to watch too. But anyways, this is interesting. It's interesting that Ukraine is fighting in an area that was known to be controlled by the Russian forces. But other than that, not too much to say about the Kremenna area.
Is it?
Yes.
Sorry, I'll interrupt for just a second. Does it have strategic value that I may not recognize just by kind of looking at it?
I honestly don't really think so. I mean, you ideally want to get Russia out of this forest and make them, have to cross these giant wide open fields to get back in. So I think in that sense, it's useful. There are roads that go through here. I'm not really sure that really matters. You can see these roads going through here on just the map. And now these roads are even more pronounced because they've been much more heavily used. So yeah, I don't really think there's that much of a strategic value here. I think they're just trying to push Russia out of the forest, just to make it annoying for the Russian forces, because they would have to, attack the forest to get back in, which is easier said than done. Much easier to defend a forest than it is to cross a wide open field into a forest. So Yeah, I think that's really kind of it, because Ukraine doesn't have the ability right now to really take Dubrova. They don't really have the ability to take control over this like highway here. They could harass it from the forests. I think that's kind of unrealistic. This highway is already basically under fire control, um, mostly through drones, but also like from every other weapon. It's like Ukrainian forces are less than a kilometer from the highway already, so it doesn't really change much. So yeah, it's just I don't think this has any particular value. It's just they're trying to clear the forest a little bit. Thank you, Jackson Weber. I like when people like donate the memberships to other people. The membership doesn't really mean much, to be honest. It lets you post a green eyeball, which is fun. But the membership supports the project, which is cool. So thank you. Anyways, near Sperna or Spirna, whatever. There have been some Ukrainian shelling. Oh, I don't know why that didn't work. That's sad. Anyway, Ukrainian shelling and drone attacks getting closer to the town. This is not particularly important. It's basically Russians in more of what was already known to be a gray area, so it's not super important. Moving on towards Vasily, I made a whole video about Vasily earlier today, so you can go listen to that if you'd like. But the short of it is that um, Ukraine was planning to launch an offensive from this area, and then they never did. And all of the area that they took in preparation for that possible offensive, they've lost. And they didn't necessarily lose it recently, but over the past like 5 months, they've lost it. And the map now shows that. More recently, near Vasile, Russia has been advancing down this rail line, but there's been no change over the past few days. I made a whole video about this earlier today. You can go watch that.
Did you? Sorry, did they not run the offensive because they lost this area, or
no, they just didn't do the offensive. They just never did it.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because they attacked Rabatina instead. They probably should have attacked here, to be honest, but they didn't. They attacked Rabatina, and we all know how that went. It was a disaster. So, near Bodanivka. Did you say something?
Nope, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Near Bodanivka, I don't really know how to map this. I'm gonna take out my pen tool because I'm gonna need a draw. I don't really know how to map this, but we've had Russian forces roughly here. We don't know if I very much think that the Russian forces that we saw here were a recon element, but that doesn't mean that they were never followed up by like other forces. We just never had explicit evidence that they were. Okay, so so we had it Russians in that forest, but we don't know if they're still there. It seems likely that they probably still are. In fact, oh boy, but I drew a giant circle for some reason. I have no idea how to use this app. Okay, so it's possible, and I think probably pretty likely that Russia controls like this. But there's been no explicit evidence that's true. So I haven't mapped that. But I've been very tempted to. There's probably a pretty good chance that Russia does control all or at least part of this particular tree line that I'm drawing big circles around, or squares, rectangles, whatever. They are trying to move down this rail. They may control this entire tree line, and this here is a low ground that's pretty irrelevant. And they may control this tree line too. This whole area is collapsing. That's really what I'm trying to say. The whole area is collapsing. We just don't know the extent of the collapse yet, or at least I haven't seen solid proof of evidence. So my map is as conservative as it gets, probably. You could probably much more aggressively map this, and I would not argue with it. We have these Russian drone attacks along this road. We have heavy Russian shelling in Bodanivka. These giant grad strikes. These videos I can show you. At least I have to skip to the part that I can show you because the whole video I can't show. Actually, I don't want to show that video. There's another video that doesn't show as many corpses. Like, this is the sort of grad strike I'm talking about. Just imagine this level of shelling many times per day. I mean, you can look at this shelling and you could say it's probably not very effective. And it's probably not, to be honest. I'm not sure how many targets are hit by these rockets. But when you fire enough rockets, you're gonna hit. You know what I mean? If you're firing 1,000 rockets, you're gonna hit something. Like, you're gonna level these houses. You're going to burn down structures. You're gonna destroy defenses. You know, people will eventually get hit by shrapnel. Any individual rocket may not have value, but when you fire thousands of them, it adds up. So, and they are firing just enormous numbers of shells. There are more videos, like this one. Yeah, it's just
You wouldn't want to get caught out in that. Like, you would hope you were right close to a defensive position that was fortified enough to get into.
yeah, and it's just constant. That's what I want. I want people to understand that this is constant. This other video shows another strike, but it also shows a lot of corpses. So I can't show the corpses, but and they are Ukrainian soldiers. So, but anyways, tons and tons of shelling here. This town is getting wiped out, basically. And at that level of shelling that you just saw, the same is happening in Klishchiivka. I just don't have the video handy right now. One of the Ukrainian forces in Klishchiivka, they published a video last week of getting shelled there, and the video, they basically said, "Pray for us." Those basically, they said, like, this is what our boys are going through today. Pray for us. That was basically the message that they had, and it showed that type of shelling, but in Klishchiivka. And the shelling in Klishchiivka is a little bit different because they fire everything kind of simultaneously. Whereas in those two videos I just showed, that was just a grad strike. But in Sinkivka, they had the grad strike hitting, but also simultaneously a large barrage of artillery, and also simultaneously barrages from helicopters. So it was like everything hitting Sinkivka at the same time. So it's just these towns are getting very, very heavily shelled, especially from grads. Anyways, anyway, that's what's going on in this area. It's hard to map. This whole area appears to be collapsing, and they're falling back to kind of the main defensive line, apparently. So the main defensive line would be back here. Remember that there is a ridge line that runs north to south. I can show you it in 3D. This ridge line runs north to south. I don't have my terrain on exaggerated mode. I should turn that on. Turn on 300%. So the vertical axis will be 3 times higher than reality, just to make things easier to see. But you see that there is a lot of like hills here, etc. But there's a ridge that more or less runs north to south, kind of like this, where Ukraine can hide on one side of the ridge, and Russia has to attack the other side of the ridge. It's not like climbing a mountain range, so don't exaggerate it too much, But these terrain features are in Ukraine's advantage. Like all of these hills, they're all in Ukraine's advantage. And all of these areas, like this is the other side of Bodanivka, So Russia has to go up these hills. And they have to go up these hills basically everywhere, every single possible place they could attack has this same issue. Now, one thing about these hills is that if you are willing to throw enough infantry at something, you can get up a hill pretty quickly. If you're willing to accept the losses, which Russia has proven time and time again that they are more than willing to accept that type of loss to get up a hill. And once they're on top of the hill, it's hard to kick them back out. And it's the sort of thing that happens. It happened so many times during this war. There's so many examples, like Soledar, for example. But anyways, so this ridge is more or less Ukraine's primary defensive line in this area. This line is designed to protect Kramatorsk and Slovyansk. And Konstantinivka is one of the main hubs to support this line. This city will support these towns, basically. And Klishchiivka is another hub that can support these towns, along with obviously Kramatorsk and all of the towns in between. One of the things that makes this area so good to defend is that there's lots of towns that are very close together. It's not really an urban area like a city, but it's urban-ish in that there's lots of built-up places all right next to each other. And this goes all the way up. Siversk is another kind of problem altogether for Russia. It's difficult / borderline impossible. Not totally impossible, but it's incredibly difficult for them to move through this Vasyukivka, Fedorivka, Rostolivka area. It's very difficult for them to break through because it has all of these hills that protect each other. Any avenue of attack has at least two hills protecting it. So that's why Russia basically stopped here and hasn't moved north. They're trying to go around these hills through Spirna, and they're trying to get to Vyimka, but they have not been able to get there yet, obviously, although they have been making slow and steady progress up this rail. But all of these avenues of attack go to Siversk. So there's Siversk is kind of one little, I don't know what to call it, like a theater. Anyway, there's like this Siversk area, and then there's this ridge. So these are the two main defensive things here. And Russia is trying to get to this ridge. They want to break the ridge and get through it because obviously they want to capture Kramatorsk and Slovyansk, and to a lesser extent, also Konstantinivka and Klishchiivka. Yeah. Yep. And yes, there's a comment here. And I will answer your question. The stay positive messages, they don't influence my reporting really. Well, for the most part. It might influence my reporting in a single video, or you know what I mean, but not overall. No. Like the other day, I didn't feel like talking about the issues in Rabatina just because the day was too depressing. But then I made a standalone video where I only talked about Rabatina, right? So, like the trying to stay positive, it influenced one video, but not the reporting overall. So that's the sort of, it's kind of my goal. My goal is to stay accurate overall, but also simultaneously trying not to pile on negativity because it gets really depressing. But anyways, that's kind of all I have to say about this this avenue of attack that Russia is currently going through. Yeah, they have made significant advances here. Ukraine is apparently withdrawing. Not willingly, I don't think. They're going to defend Bodanivka as long as they can. There's towns behind it to defend, and then there's this main defensive line that they've been building. They've been building this defensive line since probably the middle of last summer, somewhere around there. There's a lot built up here. There's a lot of infrastructure, like military infrastructure. I don't mean civilian, but military infrastructure is built up. You know, there's HQs, there's field hospitals, there's all the things that you need to mount a very serious and determined defense are built up. They're as prepared as they can be. I mean, I think Ukraine was hoping that they would never use this line of defense. But here we are. So I guess they are. Anyway. Exit. Should I break up the talk? Should I just keep going? Should we break it up somehow?
Trying to think of like a question to use, and like likewise, I'm trying not to just be a little bit of a doomer lately, but I've totally been a little bit of a doomer lately. And it's really not. Sorry, there's a dog behind me with a squeaky toy, so you all get to enjoy that today. It's really just brought on by the fact that there is so much and now she's drinking, and she's the loudest dog in the entire world. My apologies, everyone.
We can barely hear it, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
because there's a sound suppression. So
I always forget about that. Thank God for Discord. So it's that there's so much other political crap going on that we really shouldn't be having to pay attention to. And it's so frustrating that so much time and energy is going into that political crap. And it's drawing away from all of this. It's drawing resources in every shape and form away from all of this. And when you have all of that weighing on the back of your mind, and you know that there's not enough ammunition, there's not enough resources being sent, and we're watching the effects of that happen, and it's really frustrating, and it makes you a doomer no matter how positive you are. And I'm a really positive person. Like, I'm generally
so
the
am
happy
I,
person.
honestly. I'm a super
You are.
positive person.
Totally. And it's like, it sucks to be the doomer lately. Because, yeah.
This might frustrate people because I'm just gonna recognize this will frustrate people. Okay. And you're just gonna have to deal with it. But there are some things that I can't talk about that I have learned this week, and they are more or less 100% confirmed fact. Okay, it's not like hopium. Okay, I can't talk about it. Okay, you don't ask me. But these things are so ridiculously good that it makes me so happy. Well, I can't talk about it. It's so frustrating. But it's really good news. There is actually really good news. It's just the way it is, what the news is, like the essence of the news can't be talked about publicly, but it's really good. It's really good. Okay, so I'm sorry if that frustrates people. I can't go beyond that.
Yeah, I said that before on, I think on your stream and on other places as well, that in doing some of the things that we do, we learn some really great things, and we learn some really not great things sometimes. And the portion of those things that we don't talk about to anybody else is so frustrating from so many levels, because it'd be cool to share them in a lot of ways, but also it uh, it is so important not to do those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird little place we're in.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So, last time I talked about a video that I couldn't geolocate, and it was frustrating. I thought, like I said, that I thought there was like a 90% chance the video was in Klishchiivka. And I thought there was like a 9% chance it was Andriivka, and like a 1% chance it was the Dachas. Well, shortly after the stream, like after the stream, I basically just went and tried my hardest to geolocate the place, and I did locate it. But then I couldn't really post the location because Constantine released a video today, right here, or well, right here. Constantine released this video. This video is where I was talking about. So this is where that happened. It was right here. So that thing where I said that there are Russians hiding in basements, like etc. It was right here. They're in the dachas. Okay, so I just wanted to follow up on that because last time I said I couldn't find it, but I found it, and it's right here. And now you can even view the video. Although, yeah, anyway, I won't get into that. But this edited video that Constantine posted today is of that footage. GLSDBs will not be delivered for a while. We don't know why the GLSDBs are being delayed, but it seems pretty likely that it's a safety problem. That they're, you have to keep in mind that the way they work is they're taking like really old rockets and they're strapping a bomb to it. But um and the other thing is that these are the sorts of rockets that when you fire the rocket, the engine immediately turns on. Like there are types of rockets where like the rocket gets blooped into the air by like some sort of canister or something. Like maybe a smaller rocket pushes it into the air until it clears the tube, and then like later on the main engine will ignite. Like that's one type of rocket. I think that's called a cold start rocket or whatever. I don't know. You ask John. I think it's called a cold start or whatever. And then there's a hot start where the engine just turns on and you fire the rocket. Well, HIMARS do the hot start one where you just turn the engine on. But if you don't trust the engine, it's really dangerous. Because if you turn on a bad engine and the engine explodes, it explodes inside of your vehicle, which is not good for the crew or the vehicle. Very bad, actually. So it seems like logical that they will be testing these rockets to make sure they don't catastrophically explode when you launch them. And even obviously, even if you test them, like if you test like 5 rockets and they're all great, and then you like go, okay, we're ready to send them, and you ship them off, like the 6th one might blow up, right? So there's always a risk of the rocket catastrophically exploding. But you at least probably want to test your stuff, like because they're like refurbishing the rocket engines and etc. You might want to like test a few to see if they work. You know, I think that's kind of what's happening. Yeah, and it's not so much about the rocket exploding, and well, it's not about the warhead exploding in the tube. Just the rocket exploding in the tube is really bad. It's really bad. You really don't want that. It's really bad. Especially like imagine if you had like 6 rockets in the tube and one of them exploded and that made the other 5 exploded. Not great. Not great. But anyways, Russia is pushing Ukraine out of these dachas. Um, yeah, there's some talk about them capturing this forested area just north of the dachas as well, but I've not seen proof of that. Around Klishchiivka, I've seen no changes recently. Um, we we hear from the soldiers who are there. They have said that Russia has been doing literally the same thing constantly, where they. I mean, I've described this before, but they basically there are not that many ways to attack, and all of the ways to attack Ukraine has defended, and Russia keeps attacking those same places, and Ukraine keeps defending them, and it's kind of a bloodbath, to be honest. But uh, I don't know of any changes in Klishchiivka. And then moving on down, there was the video today posted by Zelensky of Ukraine raising the flag on this what's it called, a terracon or whatever. This slag. No, it's not slag either. I don't remember what the word is. I was gonna call it a pile of dirt. This pile of dirt, because it's not a heap. I've learned it's not a heap. It's called a terracon, whatever. I don't know what it's called. But they raised the flag here, and I want to remind everybody that this flag was not raised today. This was raised in November. we posted the videos, we posted the combat, the shelling. There's a BTR. I mean, we've gone through all of this in prior videos. It's all on the map. If you go back in time to like November 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, all those sources are here. The geolocations are here. You can go look at all that if you're interested. But Zelensky posted the video of the flag today. So there's that. Now everybody's like re-interested in this, but from what I can tell, there's been no new information from here. I still don't know if Ukraine actually holds this area. I do know for a fact, we know that Ukraine captured it. There's absolutely no question about that. Ukraine absolutely captured it. I've heard a lot of people today saying that they were worrying if this was like a propaganda, if it like, did it really happen? It did happen. Factually, Ukraine captured this. Fact. But we don't know what happened after they captured it. Did they move in, put up a flag, and leave? Maybe. Did they move in, dig in, and then they're still there? Maybe. We just don't know. And that's why I keep it as a gray area. We don't know if Ukraine is still there. We know they captured it, but we don't know if they kept it. So, yeah. So, moving on down. Oh, I forgot. I completely forgot to map this. I'll just tell you, because I'm going to map this after the thing, because I got this news today. I totally forgot to map it. But Russia captured, like this. They captured this area. I'll put this on the map after the stream, but they captured that. I heard that from a guy I know who's there.
Put it on the map just by drawing red on it, like exactly like that? Like, don't color it in the normal way, just like that.
I mean, do you want me to show you? I don't know if people understand how awful the map editor is. So maybe maybe
really
it'll be
don't.
good for people to understand what I have to live with. Okay. So this is what editing a map looks like. Okay. So you have to click the color, right? Because each color is its own layer. Anyway, you have to click the color. Then you have to draw like this. You have to draw all of the little dotty boos. I don't actually know how far that way I'm gonna go, so I have to go back and look at what he drew for me. But anyways, it goes like this. You have to connect all the dots. You have to label it. Rush in advance. And then I have so labels that I do. Okay, so I want to actually explain this because I think people don't know what this means. So this top label is the label, the day. Okay, so this top label is the day that I put it on the map. This bottom label is the day it actually happened. I don't when I don't know the day it happened, like I don't know the day this happened. When I don't know the day it happened, I make that the same date. That's just something to tell people. Okay, so then you change the color. I always make it a P, but it's new. And then you have to, oh yeah, this. Because GIC makes me do this against my will, I have to draw the new contested. So this is the whole map making process here. And it's the same old thing. Okay, and make it this color yellow and P. Then move the blue back. Excuse me. And yeah, now this is kind of the nightmare I live with because it goes like that, right? I'm confused. Anyway, exit. Do you want to talk while I do this? I don't know.
I
Anyway.
think this is like brilliant to actually see you do this. I've never seen
This is the nightmare I live with. Like I never know what to do with this. Like this is all like awful. I don't know what to do. I'm confused. I'm really confused.
Yeah, making you do it live without practicing was probably totally a dick move on our part. But
Okay.
anyways, there's like this is super informative for me, and I appreciate it
Yeah, this
because when
is
you spent 2 hours before the stream just mapping,
yeah.
I like vaguely understand that you're mapping, but to actually see how
yeah.
you can have like a
This
spastic
is
moment going in and out.
this is painful. This is painful for me. I don't like this is Gick making me do this complicates my life on such a level that like it hurts my brain, you know, because he wants me to mark all new map changes as a different color, which is like I'm not against it, but the logistics of actually doing it is so much harder than it sounds on paper.
I fully understand that. But I also understand from his perspective why that would be super important and make a big difference.
Yeah, so basically what I got to do is move the other one.
Oh man.
This is what I spent like 2 hours doing before the stream. Just this, but and all of the other map changes. Because Gick makes me do this now and it ruins my life. Oh, yeah,
Gosh, Dick.
yeah. Thanks, Gick. He's like, oh yeah, you do that while I do other things. Okay.
As much as we give Gik crap, he is very valuable. We love Gik.
Yeah. Okay. So there's the map change. Boom. It wasn't that painful, was it? It was. So anyway, that's my life. That's my life. That's one map change done. Okay, so I'll leave the stupid map editor. Anyway, so they captured this today. I can't remember how far he said they went there. I can't remember. He sent me a map, so I will compare his notes to my notes and make further changes accordingly. If the US aid passes, do you think Ukraine will have enough ammo to continue the Tokmak offensive? No. I'll answer that no. If not, do you see them having trouble defending the salient during winter? Yes. Yes. Okay. I thought you were going to ask, if the aid passes, will Ukraine have enough ammo? The answer to that would be yes. I'll tell you a fact. This fact somehow became controversial. The reason this is controversial is 100% Russian propaganda. Okay, it's literally just Russian propaganda. But NATO has an enormous amount of ammo, an absolutely enormous amount of ammo. The amount of ammo that we've given Ukraine already has minimally impacted the amount of ammo we have left. Like it basically made no difference. Like we have so much ammo that the ammo that we gave, which is what, like 1.5 million rounds, made no difference to the stockpile. That's how much ammo we have. We could easily, I mean, easily give Ukraine enough ammo to win this war. Easily. We wouldn't even notice. We have so much ammo. And we're producing more ammo than people think. Okay, so yeah. So that's kind of my news about Stepova. The same guy who told me about this capture here also told me a few days ago. I can't remember. Was it yesterday? Or yes, yesterday. He told me yesterday that Russia captured this water treatment plant thing. Uh, so Russia's captured this, and they've also captured this area up here. Um, Beyond that, I don't know of any changes north of Avdiivka. South of Avdiivka, there's been a large Russian advance. They've basically captured this entire industrial area. They've basically taken it all. This town, dacha, whatever. Anyway, this area is still a gray zone. I'm not sure how long it's going to remain a gray zone. It's basically surrounded. Russia may already capture it, to be honest. But this area here, I don't even know what this is, but this area here, Ukraine definitely controls that, and Ukraine seems to control the entrance of this town. We had some Russian shelling here. I'm not sure how old this video is. It might be old. But yeah, that's the changes that we saw today. I saw a lot of Russians. They're very excited today that they were claiming that Russia like broke through and is like over here already. Like I don't see any evidence to support that. But yeah, this industrial area appears to be totally captured. Beyond that, I don't really know of any changes in the Avdiivka area. I think that's pretty much all the changes I know of. In Mariinka, it didn't save my map edit. That's so frustrating. Anyways,
Do you even realize how long that takes to redo it, Andrew? Gosh.
oh well, yeah, this one's pretty easy. But
Oh, okay.
you see here, this is the world I live with. I just want people to experience this for a second. See here, this is the map editor. The edit is here, right? The edit's here, but when I export it, it wasn't there. So when I reload, it probably will undo the map edit, right? No, it's still. I don't understand. Oh, it is there. Okay, I'll fix it. Anyways, I'll fix it later. That's the world I live in. Anyways, so Russia has mostly taken Mariinka. Okay, I do want people to know that these towns here are not the end of Mariinka. Okay, this up here is Mariinka, and this here is also Mariinka. So Mariinka ends about here. So basically everything around this pond and all 360 degrees, this pond is Mariinka. So just keep that in mind. But Russia has taken the final houses in this, the main part of Mariinka, basically. Now this kind of northern part is under threat, although I will state that I did reverse a lot of map changes that I made a while ago, like a week and a half ago. See, this is how I used to have it. Not even, whatever. That's how I used to have it, and I've reversed these map changes. So it's more like this. This does not represent a Ukrainian advance. That's why I didn't make it the advance color. This is a map clarification. So the map was wrong, basically. The map was way too friendly to the Russians before. This was just wrong. And it's better now. This is accurate. The other one was wrong. So
Dude, something really important to know. Thank you.
yeah, when I make a map clarification, I don't make it a new color. I make it the old color. And that's supposed to represent that there wasn't a change. Because changes are the darker colors. So darker colors are changes. The normal color is not a change. It's just the map was wrong before. Moving on south, Novomykhailivka has had significant changes. So Ukraine is basically slowly losing this town. In just to put it bluntly, they're slowly losing it. They're being pushed back into the town itself. um, from the south and the east. Um, I don't have news about this area around Pobieda, although I've heard there's very bad news from there, but I don't have news from there right now. So, but this town, Russia is pushing Ukraine back into it. They're assaulting through the south. They're assaulting through the east. They in they seem to also be trying to wrap around the town to hit the north. Um, I'm not I'm honestly not sure how long Ukraine will be able to hold this town. Okay, so that's that change. There's one final map. Oh, no, there's two more map changes. Um, there's this change near Rabatina, where Ukraine has lost a whole bunch of ground. I have stated in previous videos and streams that I was not sure what was going on here, and we have some clarifications to make, and that's basically all the areas that I was confused about, Russia has captured. So there's that. That's the Rabatina area. Oh, there's this area. We got some news here. This might be the only good news recently, to be honest. well, no, there's one more good piece of news, but there's a geolocation for there's a video came out 2 days ago that I couldn't locate. But today someone else located it. Oddly enough, it was a Russian geolocator. And they located it to be right here. Now, what's interesting was that the location was a Ukrainian position getting shelled. So right here, a Ukrainian position was getting shelled, which is interesting because the furthest south Ukrainian position we know of is very far, much further north. If you remember back a very, very long time, we had videos of Ukrainians moving down this tree line with no further information. We never knew if Ukraine captured the tree line or if they attacked and then were repelled. We never got any information. But until 2 days ago, so we kind of went like 5 months of media blackout, followed by a single video of Ukrainians getting shelled here. So what does that mean? Does that mean this entire tree line is under Ukrainian control? It could, actually. And I did map it that way until I realized I was probably getting too happy and I shouldn't be so happy. So I just kept it as a gray area. But for like a 30-second period, I did map it that way. But anyways, it's just interesting. That was an interesting thing to say. Now, I do want to make it clear that Ukraine is not attacking here. There are no offensive brigades here. So, there's kind of two interpretations of what the shelling means. One interpretation is that Ukraine controls the position and their defensive forces are getting shelled while they're defending it. The other interpretation is that maybe Ukraine had a recon element moving down just to do some recon, and they were shelled. Those are the two interpretations. It absolutely doesn't represent an assault or any significant assault. If it were an assault, it would be a very small one, like a company level at most. And then there's one last thing to talk about today, and it is it was breaking news as of a few hours ago. Now it's kind of like, I don't know. It's still new news. Most people don't notice, okay? But it's not really breaking news anymore. But Russia is very heavily shelling this location right here, which we thought, so this is the video, we thought this area was held by Russia. At least I thought so. But Russia is heavily shelling it tonight, as of a few hours ago. I believe this shelling occurred three hours ago was this shelling. So yeah, that's interesting. And that's kind of all the news I got.
That was honestly far less doomer than I thought it was going to be. Good job.
Let's go. All right, so that's more or less all the news. Oh, there is one thing. I'm not gonna click these images because I can't remember which one was which. But Russia shelled Kherson very heavily today, and there were a lot of, I don't know, maybe a lot is the wrong word. I don't think it was that many actually. I think there were like 6 casualties. One of the images is it's not actually the casualty, because the person is not there, but it is, the blood is there, if you know what I mean. There was I believe he was a 29-year-old man who was wounded by artillery shelling, and he left a rather large pool of blood. I'm almost certain he survived. I didn't see a news update on him, but they said they brought him to the hospital. And the photograph of where he was wounded, which is now like a pool of blood, basically, is kind of iconic. So I included that picture on the map, but I can't show it on this stream because that would not be good. But if you click, it's one of these 4 dots, and I can't remember which one. So if you want to see it, just click one of those 4, and one of them's it. Okay, so that's all the news I got. So I guess that's the stream. I guess there's nothing left to talk about.
Thanks for showing us the behind the scenes. That was really neat.
Yeah, and painful. All right, so goodbye, everybody. We'll be back on, I don't even know when. There'll be a stream on Friday, and I might make videos between then and now. But I don't know. We'll see. Goodbye.